Sai Kumar Kortewada. In this video, we will learn about content projection and why we have to use content projection in Angular for parent-child relationship or parent-child communication. So here we have discussed about input decorator, output decorator, and also we have discussed about the view child. Now here we will be concentrating on the content projection. Before going to this content projection, I would like to explain you what are the problems we are facing with our input decorator. Let me quickly jump into Visual Studio Code. So here I'll divide this content projection into two parts. One is what is the current problem which we are facing because of the input decorator, why we should not use that input decorator in few cases, and how that cases can be avoided in our content projection. So how we are trying to avoid by using content projection we'll see in the next video, but for now we'll concentrate only on what are the problems which we are facing with our input decorator in few cases. For example, let me go here and create one child component. So let me go to the another terminal. Let me create a component by using our command prompt ng generate g for generate, and now let me use a c which is component, and let me use a name called as child and hit enter. It will create one css html spec file and a ts file, and it will update your module.ts. So now let me go here to the node and let me inject that into my app component, which is a parent component, and go to your child.ts, get the selector that is nothing but app child, copy this, and let me use app child here and remove this quote. Let me save this and go to the browser, so you can see something called as child works. So here what I'll do is I'll try to send some data to my child component. Already we saw about the strings and the numbers which we are passing from our parent to child in my previous video, but we'll do a bit different in this video. So let me go to the app.component.ts, and instead of passing a normal string, I'll try to pass some HTML content in my string. So let me use HTML content, which is nothing but a string, and let me use a equal to, and let me use a string which is having a h1 tag, and let me pass hi, this is a sample HTML content, and let me give semicolon with heading as close. Let me save this and let's try to pass this HTML content to my child component. So how we will pass? As of now, we know only the two cases to pass the data from our parent to child. One is input decorator and one is view child. So let me go with the input decorator. Go to the child.component.ts, and here let me create a input decorator, and this input decorator will accept one content which is from parent, that is nothing but a HTML content. Let me go here ts, copy this HTML content and paste here. So this time I'll use HTML content child, which is of type string, and I don't have any default value. Let me use not as per TypeScript. Let me save this, and now this is my property, and let me pass the value to this property. Go here, use property binding and pass our property which is passed from our ts. So let me go to app.component.ts, copy this HTML content and pass here. Let me save this. Now we are passing that HTML content to our child, and let me go to the HTML of a child component and let me inject that particular content into my HTML. We know that how we can inject that particular component values in our HTML. There are two ways. One is property binding and one is interpolation. Let me use an interpolation as of now, because as of now we don't know what is the property which we have to use. So I'll go with the interpolation, and let me use this HTML content child inside my interpolation and save this. If you go to the browser, you are seeing hi, this is sample HTML content which is passed as a string to this child component as normal string, but not like a HTML content. To overcome this, we have a property binding. How we can do by using a property binding? In general, whenever you want to add or append some HTML content to your elements, then you can use something called as HTML, that is inner HTML. So let me use a property called as inner HTML, and this is HTML native property, so it is not something related to Angular. Let me pass this By using property binding, I am using a inner HTML of a HTML attribute, and I am trying to use a property binding of Angular so that the component TS value will be injected onto this inner HTML. And let me save this. Go back. Now you are able to see, hi, this is sample HTML content. Till now it is clear. But let me go back, and now let me come to the negative scenarios or the cons of this approach. So let me go to the app.component.ts. If you see here, we are trying to assign some HTML content, that is a tag contains in our string format. So the first problem is IntelliSense. We cannot use or we cannot utilize the intelligence of this particular approach. And the second thing is, if you want to pass multiple lines of code or multiple HTML tags, then we have to use a string interpolation or string template. So we have to pass something like this, and you can assign some extra values with multiple lines. So let me go here and add h2 and give, hi, this is heading 2, which is not providing a closing tag, but if you write the same content in your HTML, it will show you a closing tag. We have to write it manually and save this. Now you can see two tags. Let me go here, reload. So if you see here, you are able to see two HTML tags. This is also absolutely fine, because here we saw only one problem, which is IntelliSense. So we have to be very careful whenever we are sending this type of content. But in case if you want to pass some content to our child, where the child should be something like this, so you need to show first heading details, which is dynamic content, and let me have a paragraph where this is my intermediate content between two inner HTMLs. Why? Because I have two inner HTMLs which need to be passed to this component.ts. So for example, if you want to pass in that way, what we can do? So let me go here and create the same content two times. Something like this, HTML content 2, and this time I want to pass a paragraph. Instead of heading, I want to pass some paragraph, and I want to pass only one line, that is nothing but inner HTML paragraph, and let me pass this as my para tag and save this. So this para tag should be displayed after my static content of this paragraph. So let me create one div, and now if you want to place that, the child should able to access that particular content. So let me go here and create one more input decorator, and this time I'll use para content, and let me copy this and pass that from our parent. So for passing it, I can use a property binding, and then let me go to the TS, pass this HTML content to my HTML. Let me go here and paste this, save this, and save this, and save this. So now here, let me display that paragraph content, copy this, and we can use inner HTML. So inner HTML is equal to, paste this, para content, and let me save this, go back to the browser, and you can see, hi, this is sample HTML content which is coming from the HTML content 1, and my para tag, it is coming from the HTML content 2. It is displaying as usual, and it is okay to use this approach. But here the second problem comes in. We are trying to create lot of variable contents. If you see here, we are creating HTML content 2, and we are trying to use a property binding in our parent component, that is para content, and we are trying to create a input decorator, which is again just receiving the content, and we are displaying it in our UI. This is a very big process. So this is our second problem. So now the third problem is, for example, if you have some content which is added dynamically to your HTML content, then how you can use? That means if you want to use an interpolation, whenever you are changing certain values or inside your parent, that should affect your child. So how we can do that? In this case, we have to override complete HTML content property itself. For example, let me create one button element, button, and let me use a click event on this button, and let me try to update para element. I want to update the para element with one element, update para element, and give parenthesis. So let me use update parent element, and let me create this definition inside my app.component.ts. Go here and create update para element. Now what I want to do is I don't want to change whole content in this. Instead of using a tag, I'll use element. That's it. Just I want to change that particular content. So in this case, how we can do? Whenever the user clicks on this button, then I have to override complete content of that HTML. I can use a template strings and use a paragraph which is a new paragraph, and I should use something like my para tag. Instead of tag, I'll use element and use a closing paragraph. Save this. Now go here. When I click on update parent element, this my para element has been updated. This is one approach where it is a long process. Why? Because here we are having a small one single tag. But if you have multiple tags where you are changing a small content inside the tag, something like this, tag to element or element to tag, some small labels we are trying to change. But for changing that small labels, we are trying to create a new element. So this is one problem which we are facing. So we are using a template. So let me create the template, and this is the value which we want to change. So I'll try to use a dollar, and let me create one variable, something like dynamic content. So this is one approach where I can use, and inside this let me create a dynamic content is equal to some value. So let me give a tag and let me use this dot dynamic content, and whenever it is updated, then I have to update that variable. This dot dynamic content is equal to, instead of using a tag, I'll use element. And let me save this. Go to the browser, and if you see, now you have my para tag, and when I click this, nothing is happening. Why? Because this is not interpolated. That means whenever you have the interpolation, then only the variable content will be changed in your HTML. So this is third problem whenever you are using an input decorator. So first thing is creating the HTML content is a biggest problem, and second thing is if you want to pass multiple HTML content to your child component, that is the second problem. And the third problem is whenever you want to update a certain properties or certain values inside this HTML content, it is very hectic to handle by using your input decorator. So to solve this, we came across one more approach called as content projection. So we'll discuss how to solve this same problem by using a content projection in my next video. Please try to understand all the scenarios we try to solve that in our content projections part 2. So please stay tuned. Hope you like my explanation. If you like my video, like, share, subscribe to my channel for more updates. Signing off. Thank you. And also, I want to let you know about Techshareskk. Techshareskk is a platform on Medium where you can learn all the backend stuff. Mainly, it is focused on the Adobe Experience Management, Magento, as well as OSGI, along with the basics of Java. And you can see the Sling framework completely. So just have a click on the link below in the description and have a look on this Medium blog. If you like, please like, share, follow Medium blog.